Good afternoon. Welcome, Rotarians and guests, to the Rotary Club of York. We are the 26th largest club on this planet Earth, consisting of some of York County's finest business leaders and community servants. I am your club president-elect, Aaron Jacobs, filling in for President Glenn Miller. We're not just a club of service, but we believe in service above self to the point where service becomes self. Take a moment to please to make sure your electronic devices are on silent or off. Today's opening song will be led by President-elect Aaron Jacobs, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation led by Eric Chase, as well as our visitor introductions by Ray Rosen. President-elect Aaron Jacobs. Why, thank you, President-elect Aaron Jacobs. And if I don't mind me saying so, your first meeting's off to a great start. Well, thank you so much. And you have a great singing voice. Well, that may be true, but I think they're starting to think you're crazy already. So let's get on with it. Fair enough. Rotarians, please join me. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
After that, I wasn't sure if we might have to pray for Aaron, but why don't you prepare yourselves in the way you're most accustomed to prayer. Gracious God, our Creator, we come before you and we humble ourselves and we thank you for the many blessings in our lives. And we ask for blessings on this gathering of Rotarians who are willing to serve their community. We express gratitude for our speaker today, who helps bring life-changing medicine to our community and to our area. We ask that her message be blessed and that we hear the message that she's trying to share with us as she grows this service in our community. We thank you for this food. May we use it to nourish our bodies, and we give blessings on those who have served it and prepared it for us. And we ask for blessings on this club as we continue to serve as self. And it's in your name that we pray. Amen.
I'm pleased to have the honor of introducing our guests for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President-elect Aaron has welcomed you. It's kind of ironic that a retired WellSpan executive is asked to introduce 19 UPMC people. Okay. Well, these people are all guests of UPMC. Allison Beam, Lisa Duffy, Mike Gaskins, Ann Gormley, Heather Hallman, Mike Hockenberry, who's also a member of the Hanover Rotary, Jody Jacobs, Bev Mackrith, Susan Manco, Jason Marks, Malini Matler, Tracy Miller, Doug Nidich, Christina Person, Michelle Reyes, Jessica Ritchie, Barbara Rupp, Michael Spangler, Delane Turper. I need oxygen. Dustin Bokel, who is a guest of Judd Landau, Marissa DeHoff, a guest of Di Hershey, Jim Fowler, guest of Sean Skehan. Sam Gantz, guest of Mike Summers. Alex Gibson, guest of Rob Bowen. Penelope Gibson, guest of Rob Bowen. Mark Ilfelder, guest of myself. Katie Mahoney, guest of Kevin Schreiber. Jason McSherry, guest of Andy Siebold. Casey Nixon, guest of Kevin Schreiber. Susan Schofield, guest of Michael Blum. Janice Swartz, guest of Andy Siebold. Julian Theory, guest of Youth Exchange. And I think finally, Michelle Young, guest of Tom Caltagirone. Anyone else I missed? President-elect?
Thank you, Ray. The visitor introductions is almost as long as today's program. It is a pleasure to have so many of you visit us today. We trust that you will find your time with our club and our members to be welcoming and engaging so that you will come back and visit us again. You will find that not only do we have a great program today, but that you enjoyed this experience so much that you'll consider becoming a member and encourage others to do so well. Rotarians, please join me in welcoming our guests. I have a few announcements here this morning. On September 14th, our club is having an off-site meeting. We are meeting at the South County Brewing Company at their new facility on Crossway Drive, just off of I-83 at the Leaders Heights exit. Space is limited, so we need you to register in advance by contacting Becky Rook, or there is a slip of paper for those of you who are savvy with technology that has a QR code on it, and it works really nice. I did it last week. You can sign up that way as well. So please take the time to do that for September 14th. On to Love for Community. We're still accepting registrations for teams and sponsorships for Love for Community, the annual charitable fundraising event held by the Rotary Club of York on September 12th. There is something for all, including golf, tennis, croquet, cornhole, and pickleball. This event will be held at the Country Club of York, which is where we are now. For more information, you can try the new online registration on the Rotary Club website. And this just in, newsflash, Dee Baker just told me 10 minutes ago that I'm proud to say that our guest UPMC today made a substantial contribution in sponsorship to this event. And not only that, it put us over the $50,000 mark, which is a first for this club. Thank you, UPMC. I did talk with President Glenn this week, and he did give me some comments to share with you. And this is the message in the best Glenn Miller voice that I can possibly do. I'm pleased to share that President Glenn Miller is home recovering quite well from his recent surgery. To quote Mark Twain, rumors of my demise are greatly exaggerated. Seriously, I'm very happy to share that my surgery went exactly as planned, and I've been recovering very well. I was, in fact, sent home a day earlier than planned on Monday. I'm grateful beyond words for all of your prayers, well wishes, texts, and cards. I'll see you all soon. Go easy on Aaron in my absence. And remember, I could have asked Al Sykes to fill in. I would tell you that I mentioned Glenn's comment to past President Al Sykes, to which Al Sykes replied, with jokes like that, no wonder the hospital made Glenn leave a day early. And now for one of the best parts of our or any weekly program, it's time to meet and induct the new members of our club. Past President, if you would approach the podium with our new members.
Thank you, President-elect Aaron. Good afternoon, Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen, guests and visitors. So as you heard President Aaron say President-elect Aaron say in the welcome, we are always looking for new members. And so many of you guests today hopefully become members at some point in time. And you will see how this process works today with the induction of 4 new members. And I am going in whatever order I feel like here. So we'll start with Tom Caltagirone. Tom, will you take a step forward and wave to everybody and say hi? Tom is a Dallastown High School graduate. and went on to the University of Sciences in Philadelphia, where he earned his BS in biochemistry. He then stayed in Philly and earned his PhD in neuroscience. Smart guy. He is the founder, president, and CEO of a really cool little company down in Jacobus called Aptogen LLC. I don't know if you've heard of them, but if you haven't, check out their website. They do some really cool stuff. In the community, Tom is a board of corporate visitors member for the University of the Sciences. He serves on the alumni board for Drexel University. He is part of the York College Chemical Industry Advisory Council and has been a judge at the York County Science Fair. His hobbies include science entrepreneurship, lap swimming, and sailing, to which he admits he is very much a novice. And if you ever see him at Lake Redmond sailing, please help him. He is married to Michelle Young, who happened to join us today as a guest. Welcome, Michelle. And they have 3 children, Sophia, who is 18, Lucy, who is 6, and Lucas, who is 4. And Tom was proposed by Jim Anderson. Thank you, Jim. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Caltagirone. As you heard Ray in the opening with the introductions, part of the test with Tom is to be able to pronounce his last name. He will be here after the meeting to help out anybody who would like to say hi. All right, next up, we have Erin Titter. Erin is from Susquehannock High School. She went to Susquehannock High School. She then went on to Juniata College, where she earned her Bachelor of Arts in History, the University of Delaware, where she earned her Master of Arts in History, and then Clarion University, where she earned her MS in Library Science. She is employed by York College of Pennsylvania, where she serves as a corporate and foundation giving officer. Her community service includes membership as the governance chair with the York Suburban Education Foundation and as board president for the National Alliance of Mental Illness. Her hobbies include reading, hiking, and spending time with her family. She is married to Adam, and they have 3 children, Anna, who is 17, Liam, who is 12, and Ewan, perfect, got it, 10. And she is proposed by, in absentia, Glenn Miller. Ladies and gentlemen, Erin Titter. All right, next up, we have Al Granholm. Al's down on the end. Al is a graduate of Northern Illinois University, where he earned his Bachelor of Arts degree. He is employed with Premier Project Management, where he serves as the Senior Vice President for Facilities and Loss Prevention. And if you're involved in local government, many of you may know Al from his many years of service as a township commissioner in York Township. I got to know him very well during that time period. In my day job, I appeared before township boards of supervisors and boards of commissioners on a regular basis. And usually they tell me to sit down and shut up. Al, on the other hand, was very gracious and never actually said that to me. So I've gotten to know him and enjoy his company over the last handful of years. He completed his community service as a commissioner in 2021 and was quickly appointed to the Township Zoning Hearing Board, where he now currently serves. I guess you can't get him enough of a good thing in local government. He also has served as a York Area Regional Police Commissioner for many years, and he has been a coach for Dallastown Youth Baseball, basketball, and soccer. He is married to Jen, and they have 3 children, Kelly, Egan, and Quinn. And he is also proposed by none other than Glenn Miller, who happens to be his neighbor. Ladies and gentlemen, Al Granholm. And of course, last but not least, we have Hal Carney with us today. Many of you may remember Hal. He was a member of this club from 2008 to 2013. So it's great to have him back as a member. Hal, welcome back. Glad you're here. Hal is a graduate of Spring Grove High School. He earned his Bachelor of Science degree from West Virginia University and his MBA from Loyola University. He is employed with People's Bank, where he serves as Senior Vice President for Commercial Banking Director. In the community, he serves on the Board of Directors for 4 chaplains. He's a past board member for the York County Alliance for Learning, and he spent many years as a SCORE mentor. His hobbies include fishing, gardening, and off-roading. I assume he does not do the off-roading in his garden. He is married to Gabriella, and they have 3 children, Liam, who is 16, Matthew, who is 14, and Julia, who is 12. And he is proposed by Mike Summers. Ladies and gentlemen, Hal Carney.
Tom, Al, Hal, and Aaron, it is our pleasure to have you as a member of the Rotary Club of York. You will find your membership in our club to be most advantageous, both personally and professionally, by how you contribute, participate, and volunteer. And we look forward to supporting you as a new member. Rotarians, please help me again to welcome our new members. And now on with the program. If we could have Mike Summers come up, who is responsible for so many of these wonderful programs. Mike.
Thank you, President-elect Aaron. You know, good thing we have a good year to get you to come out of your shell. It's going to be quite a year with him, I got a feeling. All right, our speaker is Leslie Davis, President and Chief Executive Officer of UPMC. Leslie has more than 30 years of healthcare experience with particular emphasis on operations and developing businesses and services, and holds a Master's of Education in Administration, Planning, and Social Policy from Harvard. Prior to her current role, she was Executive Vice President of UPMC and President of the Health Service Division. She also served as President of UPMC McGee Women's Hospital from 2004 to 2018, and starting in 2014, also served as the Senior Vice President, Chief Operating Officer of the Health Services Division for 7 years. UPMC is a $24 billion healthcare provider, Ensure, and the largest non-governmental employer in the state, integrating more than 92,000 employees, 40 hospitals, 800 doctors' offices, and outpatient sites, along with more than 4 million members in their insured service division. Here in Central PA, UPMC has 7 hospitals, more than 12,000 employees, and 260 primary care and specialty practices. UPMC entered the Central Pennsylvania market in 2017, and shortly thereafter, UPMC helped overcome the final hurdles to the new hospital construction in York, and UPMC Memorial opened its new facility several years later in 2019. Leslie's presentation will highlight the growth of UPMC in the region and in York County, and the many partnerships UPMC enjoys within the region that are helping improve the health and well-being of our area residents. From the opening of the UPMC Memorial Hospital in 2019 to the ongoing improvements at UPMC Hanover and a wide range of community programs in the county, UPMC continues to grow and evolve with the region. And a short personal statement: 20 years ago, I suffered from a stage 4 melanoma that metastasized in my right lung and was given a 14% chance of survival. And UPMC in Shadyside, Pittsburgh saved my life. So thank you. Fellow Rotarians and guests, please warmly welcome the President, the Chief Executive Officer, UPMC, Leslie Davis.
Thank you so much, Mike. That's a great story. And hey, everybody, I'm delighted to be here today. And I do have 94,000 employees or whatever it was that you said. But the toughest job I ever had was raising my 3 children. So that's not in my bio or on my resume. So I just wanted to tell you that. I am actually a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a wife. And those are the most important things that I do. And then on the side, I run UPMC. So I thought first of all, and thank you for having me here. This is really quite an honor. And I don't know that I've ever been to a Rotary Club meeting before. So Rotarians, thank you for having me. And UPMC staff, thank you for being here. And WellSpan staff, thank you for being here as well. Retired and present, you're good colleagues. And our elected officials and anyone else in the audience. Thank you so much for your time and your attention. And we're very excited to tell our story about UPMC. As you heard, it's been 5 years since we are in central Pennsylvania, and there's a lot that's happened. So I thought what I would do is segment my remarks a little bit. I'll talk first about UPMC and orient you to where we are overall. And then we will talk about central Pennsylvania. And then I'll talk about York, this beautiful region where we are today and what is probably most important to each of you. I then have a very brief video, like a minute or so, and then we'll have some time for your questions and hopefully my answers. Okay, fair enough? So the last few years have been very challenging for all of us, every one of us in the room, and certainly those of us that work in healthcare. And I can't say enough about how difficult it's been for the business community, for our hospitals, for our nurses, for our physicians. And it's really through these partnerships, partnerships with our community, with our business leaders, with our government leaders, that we can work together for the goal of taking great care of our patients, our members, and our communities. So I want to thank each of you for that commitment and that partnership. And I know that you would not be here today if you did not believe that that was vitally important. Everyone in this room has something else that they could be doing right now. So, and I love the name Rotarians. That's the cutest. I love that. And this is the largest Rotary group in the whole Commonwealth, which is pretty unbelievable. So you'll hear more about where we're going in all of these areas. And I thought I would start with telling you a little bit about UPMC, and that kind of is an eye chart. So don't worry if you can't read it, because I'm just going to speak and you can listen to what I'm saying. UPMC is a global integrated healthcare delivery system. We strive every day to fully deliver on a promise and a potential of what we call people-focused health, right? That's what healthcare is. It's all about the people. And we're embracing this concept in everything we do, in our comms, in our media, in our marketing. We are the largest non-governmental employer right now in the state of Pennsylvania, and we have a large state. In 2021, UPMC invested in communities by providing $1.5 billion in IRS-defined community benefits. And we are a worldwide leader in the creation of new products, new technologies, as we move these things throughout the nation and certainly throughout the world with our global network, mainly in Ireland and in Italy. Okay, so I became CEO of UPMC 1 year ago. Actually, it was a year and 2 weeks, but who's counting? And the graph used to be a straight line, but I felt like rounded circles made more sense because things change constantly, and we have to be able to pivot and move and go where the opportunity is and move from the challenges quickly. And a linear graph just doesn't help us to do that. So let me start at the left, where we talk about the UPMC experience. That's where we care for our patients, our members, and our employees, core to what we do at UPMC. In terms of quality, we have to provide patients with choices, with access, with service and value. We also have 4 million members who are subscribers to our health plan. We partner with Pitt, that's up at the top, with Pitt, the University of Pittsburgh, with CMU, with other universities as we recruit more nurses to strengthen our medical expertise, our scientific knowledge, and innovative technologies. And then we leverage our scale. What's the point of being large unless you can do something great with that? And so we take our scale and we leverage that and benefit the communities that we serve. We spread our innovation, as I said earlier, across our infrastructure and also throughout the world. The next slide is really kind of cool because this is where we are in both Pennsylvania, West Central Maryland, and also New York. And so as you can see on the left side, well, let's start on the yellow graph on the bottom. That's where UPMC began. We began as the Western Psychiatric Institute and Clinic. A lot of people don't know that. That was the roots of UPMC. And then we started affiliating with other hospitals in Southwest Pennsylvania. And then we moved north, and Hammett was our first hospital, which was more than an hour away from UPMC Oakland. And those are the hospitals that we affiliated with. And at the same time, we were able to grow our insurance products. And then we moved across the state to central and north central PA, and then into Maryland and New York. So right now we are 42 hospitals in our domestic network. And let's talk a little bit about Central PA. Central PA in September 1 will be that 5-year anniversary mark. And since 2017, UPMC has invested almost $1 billion into this central region, with $2.6 billion in annual economic impact to Central PA. We have 7 hospitals in this region. And here in York County, we are fortunate to actually have 2 hospitals, UPMC Memorial and UPMC Hanover. When we affiliate with a hospital or a health system, we naturally become deeply invested in the community that surrounds that hospital and our patients. And we are happy that we can serve this region so well. As I said, our affiliation with Pinnacle started 5 years ago, and it is still our largest affiliation ever. So it's interesting to think about Central Pennsylvania. In a revenue size, it is about the same size as Presby Shadyside in Oakland, which were our first 2 hospitals after the Western Psych Hospital. We have a long history of affiliating and bringing services to the communities that we serve. And since our affiliation here, we have brought advanced care, including the UPMC Hillman Cancer Center and access to our living donor transplant services down in Pittsburgh. We could see early on how closely aligned we were with the vision of the hospital leaders here in Central Pennsylvania. So we built on the excellence that already existed here and extended our technology and expertise while understanding how important these hospitals were and continue to be to the communities here. Here are a few statistics. I know some of you probably really like math, so I'll just throw these out. We've provided 57,000 admissions in this region, 229,000 emergency department admissions or visits. I mean, that's remarkable when you think about that. 6,300 births. That's a lot of new babies that have been delivered here. There are 1,245 licensed beds. And we've put patients on 180 research studies that are just located in this region, and another 500 that exist out of Pittsburgh. So that's a lot of community having access to a lot of great care. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Memorial. UPMC committed to funding the completion of this hospital, which is located, I'm sure you all know this, in West Manchester Township. The first time I drove by, there was actually a pile of dirt and a bulldozer. And I said, what's that? And they said, well, that's going to be the new hospital. But it's been sitting there for a long time, and the community is really concerned about that. So if this is your desire, this is what you have to do. And I thought, what a great opportunity. The community wants this new hospital. So we opened our doors in August of 2019. This beautiful new hospital has 104 licensed beds and offers these key services: heart and vascular, McGee Women's. So we have a level 2 NICU that actually opened in 2021, and the Hillman Cancer Center. So there's access very close to home. This hospital has also been ranked consistently the highest in the UPMC system for its patient experience ranking, and they are doing a great job in that area. And we are focusing the patient experience on several areas, which you may see. Hopefully you're not in these hospitals as patients, But when and if you are on communication boards, on hourly rounding, on nurse leader rounding, on bedside shift reports, these are just some of the few tactics that we've put in place to make sure that each and every one of our patients has a great experience. Another beautiful feature of this campus, and I'm mentioning this because you don't have to be sick to use it, is a community trail, which provides a great opportunity for folks to walk around and stay healthy and stay out of the hospital. On the western side of our county, we have another beautiful hospital, which is UPMC Hanover. And we provide great care at Hanover. At Hanover, we specialize now with heart and vascular care, McGee Women's also, and most recently, we opened up a cancer center there. So you see the formula and how this works. We do have a renovation project going on at York now, which is to expand the emergency department and to renovate it further so that we can provide a great experience for every one of our patients who access the emergency department. And this will help with getting patients through more quickly and up to the floors more quickly as well. Let's talk a little bit about charitable giving in the York community. It's not only important to provide great health care, but we also believe it's important to financially assist local organizations. It's been a tough time for everyone, and we have that goal for each and every one of our York County residents. And UPMC has sponsored or committed to close to $500 million to local York County organizations in 2022. That is pretty remarkable, and I'm really, really proud of that. So I'm just going to end where I started, thanking each of you for everything you do for this community, everything you do for each other. Also, if you know anyone who wants to be a nurse, we would really appreciate that, as I'm sure WellSpan would as well. We need more nurses. We need more staff coming back to our hospitals. Each of you probably touches a neighbor, a kid, someone who asks you advice. Tell them to go to nursing school. But your contributions have made a huge impact on this community. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here and now turn it over to the video. And then I'll stay here to answer any questions.
Centers and it's been 5 years since our hospitals, outpatient centers, and physician offices joined UPMC. 5 years in, we are busier than ever and still growing to meet the needs of our communities.
All our achievements are attributed to the dedication of our people. Without each member of our team, we would not be where we are today.
Since 2017, UPMC has invested more than $900 million to elevate our high-quality care and services. UPMC in Central Pennsylvania's annual economic impact to the region is $2.6 billion. Today, we are bringing life-changing medicine closer to home.
Our region has flourished with the expansion of services, clinical advancements, upgrades to facilities, and the recruitment of new providers and support staff. In the last 5 years, we have designed, constructed, and opened the new UPMC Memorial Hospital and the UPMC Hillman Cancer Center in York County. We rolled out nationally recognized services such as UPMC McGee Women's and UPMC Heart and Vascular. UPMC also expanded UPMC West Shore and strengthened labor and delivery services, including the NICU. Our affiliation with UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh brought nationally ranked pediatric care to our community.
In 2020, the world was hit with a global pandemic. While we were put to the test in many ways, our fundamental principles and commitment to the community continue to carry us ahead. Our team spirit and strong conviction to serve the community is evident here in the region. I am proud of how much our team has worked together to keep our doors open to those who need us the most. Despite the challenges, we stay focused on our patients to provide outstanding care.
Taking healthcare beyond the doors of our hospitals, clinics, and offices, and bringing it into the region's towns, schools, and workplaces. UPMC is helping create healthier communities across Central Pennsylvania. In 2021, UPMC in Central Pennsylvania contributed $125 million in community benefits and dedicated $63 million of that amount to the care for those without means to pay. Every doctor, nurse, clinical team, and support staff member has worked hard to bring services that make a difference locally.
We are getting stronger by the day because of each person's commitment to our community and desire for excellence. And we will continue advancing our mission of bringing life-changing medicine to the region.
Thank you. Okay. Come on, somebody ask a question. Yes, thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about your residency and fellowship programs for training in specialties and subspecialties?
You must be a doctor.
I have a daughter.
Okay. Okay, well, great. We have tremendous capacity in all of our training programs and our fellowships. Some are based out of Pittsburgh, and then there are freestanding residency and training programs at many of the hospitals that we've integrated with, and we've retained those programs as well because they're very important. We can't train enough people. So, encourage your daughter to apply. That's great. It's training and education is a very important part of UPMC. Thank you. Okay, in the back. Yeah, it makes people feel better when you say that. Yeah, the question was, you seem to use the word affiliation a lot instead of acquisition, and from the outside, it appears to be an acquisition. You're absolutely right. But in the not-for-profit world, we use different words. And the cash that exchanges hands for the acquisition of the assets usually goes into a foundation that then supports the hospital and the community. So it is different. I'm looking at Doug Neidick, who is the board chair of UPMC Central. Doug, put your hand up. And Doug was a board member prior to our affiliation, and has remained a board member. And now he is on many. We've sucked him into UPMC boards as well. But that is the model. I worked for a proprietary system for a while, and it was interesting. There were many things that I think are that demonstrate a lot of discipline about the way we ran the hospitals, but the way we engaged the community was very different. And typically the board members left and didn't want to be part of the hospital, which was kind of a shame and I think a loss. But it's very, very different. Our model is different. And we look to continue that legacy of continuity and leadership. So thank you for the question. There was someone who had her hand up. Yeah. Hi. That's a great question. I have no idea, but I certainly will ask. We are spreading our signature service lines throughout our footprint. And if it's something that makes sense, I don't see why we wouldn't. So thank you, and I will check. Yes.
Enticing more people into that profession, or is some type of restructuring?
Yeah. The question, as I understand it, is the nursing shortage is not just plaguing central Pennsylvania. It's something that we're dealing with throughout the world. And the question about how this gets resolved, is comp and benefits a way to resolve this possibly? And what do I see as the solution for this problem going forward. I just spent an hour this morning on the same topic with others. The nursing shortage has been creeping up on us for years, but we were able to mask it through different means and different ways. And it's been compounded. And yes, it is throughout the world, throughout the country, not throughout the world. We're not seeing the same problems internationally as we're seeing in the States. And it's in every region and it's in every state and it's all over. And it's multifactorial. One challenge, and by the way, every single hospital in America has increased their expenses and comp and benefits to be able to retain the nurses they have. There was no way around this. And that is really becoming unsustainable. Certainly it's difficult for us. So I can't even imagine independent rural hospitals being able to sustain this going forward. Because we are a capitalistic society, agencies have figured out a way to move nurses. And we saw this during the pandemic, where many nurses were reload for a period of time and paid a tremendous amount of money so they could pay off college loans and car loans and all kinds of things, which further exacerbated the situation. And then people can work for an agency and they don't have to sleep in a motel anymore. They can move them around to the 14 hospitals that are in central PA. And so we have full-time nurses in our hospitals working side by side with agency nurses. So that's a problem. And then compounding this has been COVID, which is exhausting. And it's exhausting for each of us because it's changed our lives in many ways, or it did. But for people that were on the floors, dealing with this, not knowing really what it was, hearing all kinds of things, being afraid. It was a very, very stressful time. And the other thing for nursing is there have been many opportunities outside of bedside nursing, which is probably the toughest part of nursing, being on your feet, dealing with patients directly all day long, whether it's insurance or, you name it, working in clinics, outpatient. And so we've moved a lot of nurses, even within UPMC, off the bedside to other areas. And it's good people have those opportunities. So I think there are several things we're doing. One is we are growing our training programs, and that must be done. And so looking at tripling the size of our nursing programs. We're looking to export nurses from overseas and move them here, just like the entertainment industry has done. I liken this to the cruise industry. Everybody been on a cruise? Okay, so no one in this room? Rotarians don't go on cruises? But everyone wears something from where they are. And so now that the cruise industry is really sluggish, is there an opportunity to bring talent from overseas? And we're all developing career ladders and things that make nursing an attractive place to be and to stay. So I think it will take several years. Also, Western Pennsylvania in general, well, I would just say Pennsylvania is an old state. The population is aging, and we are overbedded in this state. And so when you look at other mature markets, there's just less capacity, and there may be nurses that have less opportunity because they're not sort of toggling between 4 places that are all trying to recruit them at the same time. So it's a complex problem with a complex set of solutions. Yes, Mike. Yeah, well, we definitely will grow, and we will grow our provider and our payer. It has been harder to grow in Western PA just because of the market saturation that we have and the Attorney General rules and everything else, how big a company can be. I think there will be opportunities nationally for UPMC. And I think there's also opportunity to move our providers outside of the walls of hospitals into ambulatory settings and making it easier for patients to access care. Everyone always asks me about Philadelphia, especially Philadelphians, because I used to be in Philadelphia and I never want to go back. No offense. So I don't see going into Philadelphia in the short term. For our insurance products, we are, because we're in five regions now for Medicaid. So that's where we are. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, the question was, with all of the other legacy providers in this region, how is UPMC cooperating for, I think, mainly with services, but how do we deal with patients and so forth? And, you know, again, our desire is to improve the care of the patients and the population that exist in this community. And so to the extent that collaboration makes sense, we will always continue to look at that. And we do actually have some service lines where we cooperate and collaborate with others in this region. And we have not changed any of those relationships. So, but then I always say, like, anyone in the banking industry here? I'm not sure, like, you know, PNC and Huntington and Mellon sort of easily share their customers, but maybe they do. But, you know, we have opportunities to compete and we have opportunities to collaborate. And I think that actually makes us all better. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think the question is, can I comment on the future of independent health insurance companies? So can you give me an example of one? Oh, I see what you mean. So the future of national, like just insurance companies versus provider payer. Yeah, I wish I could. You know, I mean, we all have our own missions. So maybe there is a future. And I think that it's difficult for everyone. Every industry has its challenges. And I think our opportunities as a payer and a provider is really to leverage the sweet spot between the payer and the provider. And that's also to the question here about growth and expansion. For us, it's more about how do we take our assets that we've amalgamated over the last many years and now leverage them to provide something much better tomorrow than we have today. And that, I think, is really the opportunity for the payer and the provider. Yes, in the back. Everybody hear that question? That's been my toughest question so far. So the question was, I spoke about being the CEO of the largest NGO organization in the Commonwealth, and also I'm proud of the fact that I'm a mother, and how did I do that, and what would I do today? So, you know, I actually wasn't all that ambitious. I just didn't want to be home with those 3 kids. My worst day at work was never as bad as my best day at home. You know, taking care of 3 children is really difficult. They were all under the age of 5. So I had a lot of support. And I would say when I sit and coach up young women who, you know, they all ask me these kind of questions, and I just say, you know, get a nanny, you know, make sure your partner is supportive of what you do. You know, I had a mom, I still have a mom. My parents are still alive, which is really amazing. They're 89 and 94. And my mother worked full time. She was a dental hygienist, and she loved what she did. And when I, you know, on my worst days, I got to get out the door. And she would say to me, you know, when you're out all day, you don't see the dust on the windowsill. So think about that. When you get home and it's dark, you don't see any of the dirt in the house. That was her advice. So I think just having like a really supportive network and people who really admire what you do outside of your job of being a mother is really important, and paying for the support that you need. So I think, you know, I think the nanny I had, my whole paycheck went to the nanny, but I didn't care because, you know, I got out of the house every day. So that would be I'd give the same advice today. Yes. You think? Yeah, so the question was, what is our relationship with Highmark, and the concern about having Highmark insurance, and will this gentleman's employees continue to be permitted to use UPMC hospitals and doctors? So the Highmark war is over. It's really over. We came to a great settlement, and we have strong relationships, and there's no problem. And Highmark is like any other national insurer. I would say it's more about Highmark's decisions about where they want to direct their subscribers. Right now, we have full access to all Highmark subscribers, and we enjoy Highmark patients. But I always say to people, check your policy, because if you have a narrow network or you've signed up for something that appears less expensive, you may be steered away from a UPMC facility, but that's not my doing in any way. Yes.
So for about the past 35 to 40 years, Rotary has had a great program to eradicate polio across the world.
Wow.
The program has been incredibly successful. Polio has been wiped out in many, many portions of the world. Enter the pandemic, and vaccinations became highly politicized.
Yes.
The healthcare systems have a role in depoliticizing vaccinations.
So the question, polio was cured by Dr. Salk at the University of Pittsburgh. So we have a great legacy for vaccines. And the question is, can the universities and the health systems help to depoliticize the vaccinations? I don't know. I got such a big job. I don't know if I can deal with the politics too. But all I know is that we take great care of every patient who comes to a UPMC hospital or facility. We're very, very proud of our leadership during the pandemic and the fact that we were able to get out into so many communities and vaccinate so many of our underserved and underprivileged populations, and you know, hopefully put a lot of this behind us. So thank you for that question. I think my time is up. I want to thank you all. Is there like a special handshake or? I have to join to get that, right? Okay. Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Stick around, Leslie. I'll show you the nifty new handshake that we have here at the Rotary Club. Talk about a small world that we both have polio in common, both in Pittsburgh and here at the Rotary Club of York. Thank you, Leslie, for your presentation today. Our community is both fortunate and healthier in so many ways for all the service that UPMC provides your county, not just in your life-changing medicine, but also in its charitable presence in our parks, schools, senior centers, so much more, and not to mention our own annual Rotary Drive that we do every year, and the nifty umbrellas that we all got today. So thank you for that. Let's give another round of applause for Leslie. In honor of today's program, Leslie has signed the book platelet for Ties Travel Abroad by Kelly Starling Lyons, which will be donated to, and talk about a small world getting smaller, McKinley Elementary School, which was my elementary school here in York City. So thank you for doing that, Leslie. Next week, we will welcome our own Silas Chamberlain he's the Vice President of Economic and Community Development at the YCEA. He will provide an update on the transformative Cadorus Greenway project. This is an exciting 1.4-mile redevelopment on the Cadorus Greenway, city line to city, and it's nearing commencement for the first phase of construction. Silas will also provide a status report to Rotarians and invite them to get ready for this fun project in downtown York. And for our closing quote, "It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change," which we learned a lot about today from Leslie. Rotarian, this meeting is adjourned.